A couple of years ago, after lifelong focus, research, and experiment about consciousness, transcendence, religion, God, all that jazz, I was enjoying a state of stillness, just sitting at my desk. It's a state of stillness that is well known to me. It's just being aware, no thought. And this time something happened to me that I was not expecting at all. I emerged from this physical world, this material universe, into what I call infinite intangible. And there's where I encountered a presence, a consciousness, an infinite consciousness, cosmic awareness. I don't know what to call it, but it's not me. It was something that recognized and verified me, and I was able to reciprocate, of course. It was a shared consciousness. It's a remarkable thing. There's no person. It's as though it was a man, but it isn't. There's no figure. There's no speech. There's no signal. There's no sign, just conscious awareness. And it's stunning. It's absolutely stunning. Like many another soul, I had experienced infinite intangible before, meeting with a sudden expansion of knowledge and consciousness. But this was a first. I was enveloped, surrounded in white light. It was not exactly white light, but the description appears in other reports, mainly in what are called NDEs, or near-death experience. Well, okay, I'm 86. That's pretty near death, but I was perfectly healthy. My doctor says, on paper, I look like a 20-year-old. Okay, he exaggerates. Anyway, it was a consciousness that was wholly felt, intuitively recognized, and understood. And I herewith claim that there is an afterlife of immense challenge and satisfaction awaiting us. Maybe. Since my claim is premature, I await confirmation. It was exhilarating. It was epic, not describable. I tried, but words failed me. There was no near death, no out of body floating around, just me, comfortable in my chair with a cup of coffee when it happened. It simply changed everything and gave me a stunning new assessment of being in all its complexity. Since I got my white light experience, I've overcome something has vanished. I didn't even know I had it. Was concern about death. And I realized when we're born, we have an instinct for survival. And that never leaves us. We have a constant sense of fear because we're trying to survive. But we deal with that. We overcome our fears. We rationalize them. We act in ways that are good for us, and we find out some things are to be feared, some things you can just carry on in life. I had the desire to tell everybody about this, but I needed to be able to describe the experience rationally, as I'm trying to do. I had hesitation of fearing to fail to achieve this and to be labeled as delusional, crazy. Okay, I'm used to that, but this is important to me, and I didn't have any evidence that would contradict anyone's appraisal of me as being delusional. I didn't come back with some magic crystals or some pretty pebbles. So I was searching the internet, and there are many reports of white light. They all contain figures, people, family, friends, relatives, some locations, family pets. But my experience was all pervasive white light, surround in all directions, up, down, all over, suspended in white light. I did find some persuasive descriptions in what's called the Tibetan Book of the Dead, which matched my experience persuasively. And here's the first quote from it. This great blazing mass of light is enlightenment itself. It is the natural mind. It is the essence of your own mind. Oh, yeah, okay. The second one is, mind experiences its own liberation directly as radiant, pure, white light. And the third one is, all pervasive light engulfs you completely. All of space is dissolved into pure light. Both life and death are a continuous flow of uncertain transitions. Oh yeah, okay. Such simplicity and clarity. I was a tad chagrined that I had not been able to state my experience so plainly. Both life and death are a continuous flow of uncertain transitions. Why couldn't I have just said that? I was in a state of stark wonder. That's why. Besides, that's a hell of a realization, isn't it? Another web explanation brought up Bill Wilson of Alcoholics Anonymous with his candid report of white light, which had a tremendous influence on him. Experiences like this cannot be satisfactorily explained in down-to-earth terms. It has taken me until lately to get it under some kind of communicable framework with no beliefs and no ideology. The important thing is the realizations, actually revelations, not just the so-called white light. I know what it's like to get an exciting idea. I've had many. This was not an idea. It was an actuality outside of myself. It was not something I was seeing with my own eyes. It was an inside vision in visual terms. It is not an action, not a thought, not a process, simply an unanticipated transcendental change of state, change of consciousness, change of dimension, spirit, whatever. I'm now aware that my story can be referenced to sources sufficient to validate, if not verify, my experience. It's not just me. The internet has many reports and testimonials, much continuity. They cannot all be bogus. The critical difference between my event and reported events is that I was not compelled by conditions. I wasn't dying, I wasn't injured, I didn't have a terminal disease, I wasn't on the operating table. I was just a guy. There I was, transformed and transported into a white light experience. Infinite intangible is an individual's subjective experience and cannot be reliably described, because to do so means intangible must be downloaded through mind into tangible. Thus, there is no way to convey the feeling, essence, magnitude, duration. Nothing translates or downloads in a way that creates a recognition, like, say, the word rain. It was a misty rain all day, or rain poured down for an hour. Okay, we get it, we understand. Infinite intangible just does not work that way. Does not easily translate into tangible terms. It's awkward. Because you cannot be scientific about infinite intangible. You can't put it under the electron scope or on the lab slab. But it's a powerful experience that I feel compelled to try to convey, to verify the sense that humans have always had since forever, that there is infinite intangible to recognize, acknowledge, accept, worship, deify, confess, and surrender to. There is continuance after what we know as life. It's called by a multitude of names and gods and idols and beings and mountains and trees and lakes and rivers, things that mankind, humankind, has worshipped since before the beginning of our records. It's real to me and it's real to everybody else as well. Not a day goes by that we do not hear some reference towards infinite intangible. We call it God, reference to a deity. God forbid, God bless, honest to God, hope to God, only God knows, God help us, oh my God, plus the very familiar, oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God. Just a word, God, it's a sound. It symbolizes what we all tacitly acknowledge and spontaneously express. Get this, there is no one ever in the history of humankind, and including you, there has never been anyone who has not prayed. To what do we pray? Pray tell. Everybody knows what it is, and nobody knows what it is. So, to try to verify my experience, I painted it. I made a painting of my white light experience. I'm an artist. Duh. While the painting falls far short of conveying infinite intangible, so do words. This isn't white light, it's paint. This is an instant, it's a snapshot, because the whole situation was vibrating, resonating. My first impression was that it was sizzling, but sizzling implies sound. I wasn't aware of any sound at all. But this is a freeze frame. The whole thing was white light. If I had been using my own eyes, it would have been dazzling, it would have been blinding. But an inside vision can be dealt with. There are several things about inner visions that are different from tangible vision. First of all, although it was vibrating, you couldn't see it. It wasn't going like this. It was just shifting, thrusting, pulsing, and you could see through it. I could see, where's this white light coming from? What's the light source? I'm surrounded by white light. Where's it all coming from? It's coming from itself. Each one of these, as you can see, these are particles. The way I got this was I took a pinch of white light and blew it up. So this is like a microscopic close-up, blown up to this size, and I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I just knew that I had to do it. I was totally naive, never painted anything like this before. I knew it wasn't going to succeed because it was not light, it's paint. The best I can do is to blindly follow what I was devoted to doing. I was determined to obey my recollection of my experience. So here's me dabbing away with white paint on pale colors, and I didn't know what I was doing. It didn't look right, but then, okay, yeah, that's exciting. And shade, different colors and qualities, and yet infinitely white light. But I could see through it at the same time. That's what is difficult to understand, because with your eyes, your tangible eyes, you can't do that. If light is blinding, you can't see through it. This light would have been blinding, but it wasn't. I could see through it. I'm trying to bring back the wonder of it all. I would love it if a quantum physicist would look at this and ask questions, or look at it and go, whoa, that's amazing. It's just, nobody's ever seen this before. I've looked up a few pictures of quantum physics and such stuff, and they're computer creations. They don't look like this at all. This is a first-hand experience. It was not a surface. It was an infinite space, and these tiny, tiny little particles that were all there when I blew it up. See, that's the thing. You take a pinch of something like white light, yeah, I didn't know what was in it. I had to allow it to grow and do what I knew was right. I was literally working blind. So whatever this is, it's my authenticity. And you'll notice that there are particles depicted in these white blobs. They're not touching each other. They came and went. They didn't blink on and off like a blinking light. They were there and then they weren't. I knew what I was doing when I took a little pinch of it. And in between every little dot, there is space. I don't know whether the little dots actually blend, but they travel. They're very, very fast. The white light is not solid. It's a bunch of self-illuminating particles that develop their own light, and they're in their own space. And there are countless numbers of them, infinite. It's exhilarating to think about and exhausting at the same time. It's very exciting. So thank you for watching. I hope it means something to somebody.